than that.
You said out of the box. So I'm thinking about internal experts and external experts. Like, so can people start putting in the business case and following the projects, or do they need you to kind of be consultants and to make a lot of changes? So, like, is it 80/20? Like, how much after they download or get the KaizApp app can they do themselves versus having to rely on let's say, yourself?
Well, yeah. So for steady state, obviously it's zero. I think we do have companies who've gone ahead with no support and they've succeeded, but at what cost? It depends on the situation, but I think you can go much faster in year one if you have some support, right?
Okay.
I mean, the support week, the launch week that I like to do, and this is sort of a per site. You don't have to do this. You could do a day, 2 days, but I've always liked to do a week. And what I do with that week is you train how do you start a revolution? Right? Revolutions form at a point. There's a number of points they might start at, but they start at a point, and it's a group of people that come together and decide they're gonna convince everyone else. So the early adopters come together and have a desire to go forward, and they bring the early majority with them, right? So in the first week, I'm finding those. Obviously, the company's going to tell me who they are, but that early adopter group, you train them, and I've obviously already understood. If I'm doing this week, I've already understood what they want, where they want to get to. So I actually help them to put live a series of real use cases into not only trained in that, how to use it, real improvements, but then also the governance that goes around that. So for example, let's say that the use case they wanted to see was, so the site director can see all the improvement projects, all the business cases. Okay, so below him, there are a number of managers along that work in a particular part of the plant, and they want to be able to. They're going to actually be the owners of the improvement projects, along with the lean manager for the site, for example, right, and their team. Okay, and then other people like engineers and quality are going to be collaborating and delivering parts of that. So we would train all of those people. I would train all of those people, and I would put those processes into action. And it can be more, maybe more than that. Just try and keep it, try and limit the scale of what I'm describing here. And by the end of a week, like on the Friday, get everyone together and run it's like a feedback workshop where you present first from the bottom. It could be as low as the shop floor team leader, and then the manager, and she just demonstrates to the whole group each of the use cases live data, right? And having agreed, like, okay, this is the kickoff governance we're going to follow, which is like a monthly financial review, weekly project progress versus plan review. If we're going to implement, if operational KPIs will be in, you can link the improvement projects to the KPIs. The leaders, the seniors, they love this, because when they run a weekly KPI review, they can just click on click next to the KPI, and they can see, oh, look, for this primary KPI for my site, there are these 6 improvement projects that are helping me to helping this KPI owned by me, to reach its target by the end of the year, right? So it sort of ties it all together. So anyway, whatever use case you want to implement, you set what time do you need to set that up well, and ensure that a system is actually set up. And then the leader obviously got to be part of that. If you do that well, it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. It depends on the size of the site and the scope and number of people involved and so on. And every time that's done well, it leads to it has led to a sustained performance improvement culture, where the leader at multiple levels is involved, understands the improvement cycle, what they need to do. Finance understand, the leader understands, the shop floor works absolutely wonderfully. Yeah, I think so. If it's not supported by anybody, that reaching that point takes much longer. It can take much longer, from months to even longer than that.
Mhm.
And of course, what you have to remember is what you're losing is months of being at the maximum run rate of benefits. So it costs you more in the end to not take a little bit of support in order to make a really good start. Now,
So
despite
it sounds to me like you
I'm
want.
very sorry about that, but despite that,
Mhm.
some people, will just choose to do it themselves, and that's okay. And some will choose support.
Right. So it sounds to me like you want a core group of, let's say, super users who know all the features, but the plant manager doesn't have to know how to input everything, and
No,
they'll be looking at it from
that's
different
right.
granularity than someone on the shop floor.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Because we went through some, when we did the training with you, and it really took no time at all.
Yeah.
Within like half an hour, we were able to input what the project is, project charter, some quick financials, and then you're off to the races, which within a very short period of time, which is really the hard part, just getting it started.
Yeah, I think one of a number of things that consultants bring to clients is the confidence that you can do it. And I think it's sort of testimony to the user friendliness and I mean, get complimented on this all the time. It's very user friendly. It's very fast to use.
Right.
It doesn't take a lot of training. It's very fast. Consultants, been able to train them in like yourselves. It's not even a day. It's 3 or 4 hours, and then you go and use it, and then come back and ask questions, and you're there. You're kind of there, right?
Right.
Yeah. So but okay. The point I was going to make is that's training, right?
Mhm.
The governance and making the system work, which is really valuable. That takes just a little bit of experience, but it's not a big effort. It doesn't take so much time. But if you can get people to that point, then they can run from there. I always think that I've actually bought technology a number of times in my past corporate roles. So when I used to work with part of Anglo American years ago, and when I've bought technology, it's always like an order of magnitude better if you can adopt it quickly. So other than drawing it out over 2 years, if you can get it all done in 3 months, it's just an order of magnitude less painful, less effort. It's not necessarily that much less painful, but it's certainly a lot less effort, a lot better accepted if you go more quickly. So that's what I prefer, right? Obviously, you can go. We have got organizations with as many as 50 sites, 50, 60 sites that have gone quite slowly over a couple of years. But in my view, you're just missing years of being at the full run rate of benefit when it's implemented, and that's a number in the millions. So it's not worth it.
Well, the analogy I like to use is like, here's Excel, and let's do a session on macros and statistics. And it's like, no, I just want to add up a couple of rows, and columns in Excel. So it's like, don't make it over daunting and show you every feature, about Excel. It's like, get started, see that you like Excel. It's not, it's really easy to use. And then you learn more features or the ones that you need. There's no sense teaching everyone about every feature in Excel if they're never going to use it. So it's like dogmatic versus pragmatic approach.